Yeah. Radhe Radhe everyone. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to another session of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. And today is our revision session. So looking forward to it. Over to you, Nitinji.
Thank you, Sandhya, and welcome everybody to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita, Friday special session. A very warm welcome. Good morning, good evening, happy Friday, happy Saturday. Let's get started with our opening prayers by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. So let me share my screen. I don't have the slide. I can't believe it. All right. I'll share my All right, let's get started with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome. So let's get started. Today we are going to do a recap of what we have spoken about over the last 1 week or so. And we'll go a little more deeper. Hopefully these concepts will sink in a little more and we can have a bit of a discussion around some of the stuff that is still not making sense or which might be a bit befuddling in our heads. So let's get started. All right, so today is our recap and revise session. You can pick your spots amongst all the participants you see on the screen. I'll pick mine. Okay, so I picked up 418 as well. And all the way up to 421, we will have a quick recap of all the concepts that we have spoken about. So 418 was where the concept of action in inaction, in action in action was introduced, where Lord Krishna is saying that those who see action in action and action in action are truly wise amongst humans. Although performing all kind of actions, they are yogis and masters of their action. Now, the key thing to understand here is that these people, they continue to execute their social duties without attachment to results, dedicating the fruits of their actions to God. That was the distillation or the key message in this shloka. So Bhagavad Gita is not something which is telling us to give up our works, as popularly people would like to believe. It is a call to action. All it says is you continue to execute your social duties without attachment to results and keep dedicating the fruits of your actions to God. We'll go a little deeper again today. Then 4.19, Lord Krishna further goes on to say that enlightened sages call those persons wise. He's basically extending the definition of wise, whose every action is free from the desire for material pleasures, and who have burned the reactions of work in the fire of divine knowledge. So the key message here was they have purified their desires through knowledge. So their desires are aligned to the desire of serving the God. That is what our scriptures are telling us. Now we will look at this concept. It's a bit difficult to understand. What does it mean? And how do we align it and all that stuff, but we'll get a little deeper. So 4.19, the key message was purify people. The sages are the ones, or the wise are the ones who have purified their desires through knowledge. Then comes 4.20 that we spoke about. Lord Krishna says that such people, having given up attachment to the fruits of their actions, are always satisfied and not dependent on external things. Despite engaging in activities, they do not do anything at all. Okay, which where we saw the story of gopis going to the Durvasa Rishi. So they do not need anything external to make them complete. That is the state of an enlightened sage, rishi, or a person. And 4.21 that we did yesterday basically says that free from expectation and sense of ownership, with the mind and intellect fully controlled, they incur no sin even though performing actions by their body. Now, this is where we introduce the concept of purity of intention leads to non-binding karma. So if you look at it, if I were to really simplify this whole conversation, right, for all the shlokas that we are doing, essentially the message that is coming up is the concept of karma, vikarma, and karma. That's where we are going to have a bit of a poll today as well to test our understanding. So, what is God really telling us here? When God says that offer me the fruits, of your actions, or purify your desires, if we think about it, technically speaking, what the actions that we perform in our day-to-day lives, right? Maybe we can let more people join, then I'll launch the poll. So Karm Yoga or Akarm, the concept of Akarm is basically Karm Yoga only. God is giving us the science or the art of working. He's not asking us to give up anything. He says, continue doing what you are doing, just change the consciousness around it. Now, if we are working, who are we working for? If you think of it. If we are working to satisfy our desires, we are basically going after fame, money, maybe power, those kind of things we are going after, right? So we are going after the material energy of God. Who are we serving when we are serving or going after material energy of God? Indirectly, we are serving God only. Now, let's say we are attached to relationships around. We are attached to people around, our relations, near and dear ones. Or we have to serve just because of the situation or the station of life that we are in, right? We could have an employer-employee relationship as well. End of the day, we are still serving, or let's talk about the attachment part of it, right? If we have deep attachments that we have for those people which are near and dear to us, who do we have attachment to, right? If we are serving them, let's say, is it the physical body that we are talking about, or is it the soul? Who are we attached to? If it is the body that we want to serve or we are attached to, that body still exists, which the soul passes away. At the time of death, the body is still there, but can we serve it? We cannot serve it. So it actually, if you think about it, there also we are serving the Tatastha Shakti of God. What is the true identity of the people or the personalities around us whom we get attached to? They are jivatmas, they are souls, not the gross body as we relate to them. Because body will continue to exist, right? But once the consciousness passes away, then that body is nothing but a gross matter at that point. So even in those cases, we are serving the Tatastha Shakti of God, or we are, building a relationship with that. So indirectly, there also we are serving God. So what God is telling us is basically directly, indirectly, knowingly, unknowingly, you are serving me only, or my energy only. All you need to do is to accept it and tweak your consciousness, and the job will be done. You just have to acknowledge it or understand the deeper secret behind it. Not a secret, but understanding behind it. That end of the day, this whole creation is God's creation. Either we do it with the consciousness that, okay, God, we are doing it for your pleasure because God is and the sustainer of everything, or we continue to do it for our enjoyment that, okay, I'm going to get some bliss out of this act. So both options are available to us. If we tweak it, then the job is done. Basically, that's essentially what Karm Yoga is. And purity of intention is essentially aligning it to the fact that we are serving God and we are doing it for His pleasure only. And that becomes purified intention. Anything other than that, you can get it to a sattvic extent where you are reducing your selfishness and doing it for the sake of others, right? Am I doing it because my interest is served, but or am I doing it because I want to do it for others? That much we can do from a purity of intention standpoint. But God is telling us, take it a little further. Just align it to me, doing it for my pleasure, and then it will be the job will be done, right? And then when we think of ourselves as a sense of ownership, right, that is also something God is saying to do away with it. Because end of the day, He's providing us the energy for everything, right? There's a story of Shivaji and his guru. I think his name was Samarth Ramdas. So one day he saw his guru begging in a bowl in his kingdom, and he thought, I am a king and my guru is in this kind of a state. So he went up to him and put a chit, small chit, and said, okay, my entire kingdom is yours from now on. And he looked at it and smiled back at him. He said, okay, of course, I don't need it because I'm an ascetic. The reason I beg is not because I need something. It's like to engage people. You know, begging, there was another reason for begging because people would, bhikshuk will engage people. First of all, the sense spirit of giving would come in them. And secondly, they would engage them in some form of a satsang. So that is why people used to beg as well. So he said, I don't need anything. No, but now that you have given it to me, I give it back to you. You run it as a trustee, not as an owner. So that is the consciousness. What happened? Shivaji was ruling even before. And what happened after this incident? He was ruling even after. What changed? The consciousness in which he was operating. He was not doing it as a king himself. He was doing it as a trustee of his guru for the pleasure of his guru and God. Same act, but the consciousness changed. And that's essentially what Krishna is asking us to do when he says that don't take sense of ownership. And then when we start doing that, when we start offering our fruits to God, then one of the consequence for that is our mind and intellect, they start getting pure because now you're attaching it to the purest thing, right? I'm doing it for your pleasure. I'm going to accept the results for your pleasure as well, right? When we get a particular result, that basically means that is what Krishna's desire is. And simply accepting it actually takes us closer to the principle of surrender, gets us closer to the principle of getting closer to God, and also purifies our mind and intellect as well. So if you were to summarize this difference between all of these, let's do a quick summary that we said. So action in inaction is called Karam and Vikarm. It falls in these two categories. Inaction in action falls in Akarm category. Let's look at some of the differences just to know which category. So this is motivated for personal enjoyment. And when we do anything for personal enjoyment, we are limiting it to our body, senses, or mind. That is what enjoys, our mind enjoys, right? Through our senses. So it is for personal enjoyment, anything that is done, whether it is job or some act or activity, work, if we are doing it for our enjoyment, then it becomes karam or vikaram, depending upon whether we are doing it in a consciousness that, okay, I want to do it for a good reason. For example, if a temple is being built, somebody could be doing it for the sake of earning money. He's doing it through a rightful means, legal means. So it's a karam. Somebody might be doing it because that it gives him a sense of satisfaction because they're doing some work. People have sanskars of doing work. They want to do seva, regardless of whether it is for God or for anybody else. Or somebody might be doing it as a service to God because it's a work of God. They might be thinking that way. So depending upon that consciousness, it can become karam, vikaram, or akaram if they have attached it to God. So in the second case, there is no motive for personal enjoyment. That is a big difference. There is no motive for personal enjoyment, and it's only for the pleasure of God. That becomes akaram. The second one is, in this, there could be an artificial renouncement as well, where you might wear saffron clothes and say, okay, I've taken chutti from Muhmaya, while your mind continues to hanker for worldly objects. So this is artificial renouncement. This also falls in Karam Vikaram category. And in this one, the performance of social duties without attachment to results. You don't shun or run away from your duties. You continue to do that. Um, but the attachment to results is given up because you understand the bigger principle that the results is not something that I control. See, this attachment to results, if it truly helps, we should get over attached to it. Then we will get favorable results. But does it truly help? It doesn't help actually. Attachment to result doesn't help. And it is a lost opportunity to exercise Karm Yoga or align to what Lord Krishna is telling us in Bhagavad Gita. So it's a lost opportunity there, where we think we know better than God what should the result be. Now, if God is giving the result and we understand the definition of God, that God can only do kripa, he cannot punish somebody. So even the unfavorable results, we can see it in perspective. That means that is what the God's desire is. And I'm happy or I'm satisfied in your desire. I'm happy in your desire. So when we don't complain about unfavorable results, we simply accept it with prasada buddhi. That means we have practiced this principle and we have done ourselves a huge favor by aligning to God's will. And that becomes inaction in action. It qualifies in the category of akarm at that point. The third one is, like I said, the personal enjoyment. It is a corollary of that only. The mind contemplates sense objects. It is actually craving for sense objects. Touch me, taste me, feel me, hear me. Now, in this case, you simply dedicate the fruits of your action to God. You understand that God is the supreme enjoyer. You just offer your fruits to Him. And because of this, you get entangled in karmic reactions. Action in inaction results in binding karma, which binds us and entrenches us further in this material world. Why? Because these actions would typically fall into two categories. Either they'll be good if they are in accordance with scriptural injunctions, knowingly or unknowingly, or they'll be bad. It cannot go beyond good and bad. So if it is good, you have accrued karma, which is called auspicious or good karma. If it is bad, you have accrued vikarma. You cannot rise above these two. So we'll always have a mixed bag of good and bad karma in this category. However, here you are not entangled in karmic reactions because you have multiplied your karma with zero. You attached it to God, which is Shuddha Sattva, which is Gunatit. So there is absolutely no question of any more binding karma. That is one part of it. So mathematically, you have not added anything more to the baggage of your existing karma. More importantly, you have cleansed your mind in the process. You have increased your surrender and you have taken a step forward with regards to the spiritual growth. That is the most important part of inaction in action, Akarm part of it. The next one is lethargic idleness is sinful, where you do procrastination or don't take any action or avoid hardship. Okay, that is also falls in action in inaction. The avoidance, procrastination, delaying. This is sinful. God says swing into action. Don't run away from things. Take things head on. Okay. Don't run away from your duties. And this is also termed as, this is Karam Yoga. We've spoken about this concept. Last but not the least, this is pathway to hell, especially if you are doing more of Vikaram and less of Karam. If we do more of Karam, less of Vikaram, then you go to celestial abodes. If you do more of Vikaram, less of Karam, you go to hellish abodes. And if you do a mixture of both kind of a deal, then you come to Mrityulok, which is where we are. So next time you think this question pops up in your head, why do bad things happen to good people? If we were truly good, we would be in Mrityulok. Okay. The fact that we are here means we have a mixed bag of good karma and bad karma, and that is why we are here. So that is the key concept. Now let's launch a quick poll and test your understanding around some of the questions. So let me do that, and we launch poll. If you're able to see questions on your screen, please do take your time and submit it, and then we can have discussion on that to see how many percentages we get, and maybe a bit of a discussion around that as well. We have a presentation coming up as well, by the way. So another 15 minutes we have on this. I'll probably give 2 or 3 minutes, and then I can end the poll. You can give me a thumbs up once you are done. And once I get it from everyone, I'll just end the poll and we can have a quick discussion around some of the concepts.
Nitinji, the radio buttons are not, the selection ones are not showing up.
How did you see that? Are you a co-host now?
Yeah. The co-host cannot see the option.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. That time.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
Co-hosts are not allowed to play, basically. That's what it means. Okay, I can see some responses coming in already. It's all karma, vikarma, and akarma, because that's what we've been discussing, right? So I just picked up some questions around that. Maybe the host can take that. We are nearing the 2-minute mark. Let me know when I can end the poll, and then we can share the results, overall results, and have a bit of a discussion around it as well.
In the meanwhile, actually, Surender ji had messaged that he is in the train
Okay.
on Himachal.
Okay, Surendra ji, very nice. You can meet my mom and dad there. I think you might be in that small toy train. We call it toy train. So there's a train which runs in the narrow gauge in Himachal, where you can get off the train and take a drink and then run and then catch it again. Okay, that is how slow it is. But it's a beautiful journey. It's very slow, but very enjoyable. It goes through very scenic ways. So, and I think the journey from Kalka to Shimla is like maximum number of tunnels on the way. I've never been there, but I've heard that. So many tunnels they come on the way. Yes, Kumarji, you had a question? I can see 34 people have participated so far. So we have close to 60. I'll wait. I'll give you a few more minutes, and then we will have discussion on some of these questions.
Radhe Radhe Kumar
It's a
ji.
good way to test your understanding around the concepts that you have understood. Unlike Kahoot, we don't go by individuals here. We will look at the overall numbers and then quickly go through the results and pick up the choices that are not supposed to be picked up, and why somebody picked up that choice, just to clarify the doubt around that. Yes, so we can have a bit of a discussion in the meantime. Yes, a couple of hands I can see.
Yeah, I mean, Sri Ramya ji has also messaged a good way of checking our understanding, and these are interactive too. So hope to see more polls in future.
Sure, Sri Ramyaji. I have done like 1 year full Kahoot. Okay, if I get good participation, I can do it every week. So we used to run Kahoot games pretty much every week. It was a good way to interact and revise, but then participation was not very, I don't know, because of technology or whatever, but I think this one is much more user friendly, so we'll continue to do that every Friday or occasionally during the sessions as well.
So let's take up the hands.
Yes, let's take the hands. I think 37 people have done. We still have another 20, 25 who can do. So I will probably give a couple of more minutes, and then in the meantime, let's take hands and see what questions they have.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Kumar ji.
Radhe Radhe. Yeah, I think this is better than Kahoot, because I always had an issue trying to get two systems together, and then and I cannot see the questions on the phone properly, right? So I have to have the questions on the computer, and I had to rush to get the computer, which is shared computer, so it is a big problem. This one is much better. immediate results and all that stuff. And I somehow don't like the music on Kahoot.
Okay.
So
So,
anyway, this is a great idea, Nitinji. So if you can continue this,
yeah,
that's an immediate check on our knowledge as well.
sure. I think that we'll continue doing that. And thanks to Rahul, he proposed that idea, and I think we can continue doing it.
The other
So,
thing, train journey,
Kahoot,
you're saying,
Kahoot,
right?
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Okay. So this Shimla, so I've heard about it. So beautiful. We have one similar one in the south to Ooty, very small narrow gauge train, beautiful. I went there when, during my honeymoon, I had gone in the train. So it was, well, the train journey was really good. I just love trains, and that small train makes me really good. But I saw a video of one on the Himachal one that was even much more better. It's more picturesque and all that stuff.
Okay, very nice.
Hope to visit it sometime. Thanks, Radha.
Thanks. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, I would like the host to make Himani co-host as well. She's going to present shortly. All right, I think 41. Are there anybody who's still trying to answer questions or taking their time? I think we've given 6 minutes, so I can end the poll and we can have a quick discussion around some of these concepts so that we are all on the same page here. So let me end the poll and share the results. Are you able to see the results, all of you?
I can see.
You can see the
people are nodding
percentage.
their heads. Yeah.
Are you able to see the results? Okay. The first question was engraving names on the marble stones of temple. What do you think? Single choice was all three choices are there. And the first one is karma, the top one. That is good. Some people said akarma. It's not correct. And vikarma is also not correct. So it is a karma. And within karma, if I were to subcategorize it, it is a rajasic karma, where it is driven by the mode of passion. You're going after your name and fame, right? In that case, not purely for God. So obviously it's a good karma. It's not a bad karma. No. Now one could argue that somebody had stolen money and stuff like that, but you're not getting into too many nitty-gritties of it. If somebody is donating to a temple and their motive is to have their ancestors' name, their own name, and all that stuff there, it is a good karma, but then it is driven by rajasic tendency, and it is auspicious but not a karma for sure. Yes, Ajit, you had some remark
Yeah,
on that?
Radhe Radhe Ajit ji.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, one more advantage I see while engraving your name on the stone of the temple, that whenever your grandchildren used to go in future, they will feel proud of you. That see, my grandfather has donated, and his name is there. He
Yeah.
was so religious, he was so pious. So that is the point of inspiration as well. This is what
Sure.
I wanted to highlight.
Sure.
Radhe Radhe.
Understood. Yeah. If it is to inspire and then intention is that it can get there, but typically it is a rajasic kind of a charity, where the highest level of charity is where your left hand doesn't know your right hand has actually donated. Guptadan, where you have no motive for yourself whatsoever. All right, let's move on. Thinking of rice, whistle, and boiling milk. Okay, this is something I love because that's what I see a lot of times around my house and other places as well. While doing worship is called karma, akarma, or vikarma. Interestingly, majority has gone with karma, akarma, or vikarma. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a karma because your mind is not in God. So akarma is ruled out. Vikarma, I mean, it's not wishing something bad for rice or even milk. So for any person as well. So probably it is karma, I would say. You're doing, but it is not really taking you to God, right? I mean, it's, I don't know which category, but basically it's not a, it's definitely not a karma where, and that is the whole idea of doing your puja and engaging the mind in God. So we are basically multiplying it with 0 and giving ourselves a medal that, yeah, we are very puja party and very religious and do our stuff 2 times a day. Doesn't take us very far. That is a key thing. The next one was, what is the other name of Karam Yoga?
Karma.
Here also, there's a split verdict, but good thing is majority of the people have gotten it right. Other name for Karm Yoga is Akarma. So 26 of you got it right, which is a good percentage. Some of you, I think, are still confused between karma and vikarma. So maybe it's time to dust off that concept a little more and ask questions around it, because Karm Yoga and Akarma are same. Akarma means multiplication with zero. Akarma means when you are for the pleasure of God. Akarma means you are not adding any more karma to your baggage. So this is another name for Karm Yoga as well. The karma means negative karma, which will take us to hellish abodes. And karma means regular karma or auspicious karma. So that is what karma means. We all say, we do Karm Yoga. Karm Yoga means when you attach your mind to God. Doing your regular work, day-to-day work, will typically be karma or vikarma. It is definitely not Karm Yoga. Unless we have perfected offering fruits to God, doing it for the pleasure of God, and doing it with a sense of non-doership. If these three principles we can hold in our mind, then we are doing Karm Yoga. Otherwise, we are not. It is either karma or vikarma. What is inaction in action? Now let's see.
Akarma.
Inaction in action.
Okay.
Very so good. The percentage close to 70% have gotten it right. It is a karma. But these all questions are around this concept only, because I'm very sure it can confuse people. Yes, inaction in action is called a karma. Action in inaction could be karma or vikarma, depending upon what is your consciousness at that point in time. It could be both. Bottom line is, action in inaction is binding. Inaction in action is non-binding. The last one is, what does God note? Our actions. Somebody has said some actions as well. Maybe you want to come forward and talk about it. What made you think so? We can do a lot of actions, but if our mind is not there, or our intention is not to serve God or to please God or to connect with God, God doesn't basically take note of that. So when we make, right, in India, it's very common to tell people, please come home sometime, and they'll also say, I will come sometime. Do we really mean? Probably at times. And do they really mean? Probably at times. But it becomes a habit. So we do and say and do so many things where we are just doing it for the sake of it. But God says, I'm going to note your intentions around it. And we take that behavior in front of God also. Right? We are doing our arati and everything, and our mind is all over the place. Or we are doing it because it's become a ritual for us, and that's what makes us feel good. So that is the concept around anybody who thinks any of these questions did not make sense or needed any further clarification. I can spend maybe 2 more minutes on that, and then I'll hand it over to Himani for her presentation. I'm looking forward to that. She would talk about her spiritual journey, and let's give her anybody who had real quick question, 2 minutes before we can give it to Himani.
There was a question from Lakshmi ji. Yeah, she has raised.
Yes, Lakshmi ji, please go ahead. And in the meantime, can you please make Himani the co-host as well?
Yeah, I have made her the co-host. And Lakshmi ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Lakshmi ji, I'll stop.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Yeah, my first two questions were wrong. I think I need little clarification between karma and vikarma. Would you please recap it?
Karma is auspicious karma, which gives you good results.
Okay.
Karma is inauspicious karma, which gives you bad results. And
Okay.
a karma is which is beyond both of these, good and bad. It is something which you are doing for the pleasure of God, and which gives you liberation if you perfect that, doing in action, or akarma always.
Okay.
Karma and vikarma are binding. Akarma is not binding. That is the difference.
Like the action, the bad things comes under vikarma.
Bad thing
A
comes.
binding.
Yeah, binding.
Yeah,
Bad
binding
and
thing.
good.
Both are binding.
Both are binding. Good
Yeah,
and
yeah.
bad, both are binding.
But the good things with karmic actions, it comes under karma.
True. Good things will take you to the golden jail, which is called celestial abodes. Bad things will take you to the iron jail, which is called hellish abodes.
Okay, but the bad intentions, bad things with the karmic reaction, they come into vikarma.
It's a perfect recipe to go to hell.
Okay, thank you.
Radhe Radhe. Yes, Surendra ji, real quick.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Surinder ji. I'm unable to unmute.
Okay, I'm also unable to unmute.
Which we were in
Yeah,
rush
no.
between the two gadgets.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Surendra ji.
Thank you, Prabhu. I don't know whether the audio will be correct or I'm in the train. So anyhow, but I scored 60%. Thank you very much for the scoring.
Very nice.
Because I thought the first two questions were between karma and vikarma. So I chose vikarma in both the cases. That's why I'm borderline.
Okay, good. Good to know that, and safe travels. Thank you, Surendra ji. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, Himani, all yours. You can start sharing your screen, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you and looking at your presentation. So over to Himani then.
Thank you, Nitinji, for the opportunity. Well, I have been attending these sessions for more than a year now, and I feel like I have gotten a new direction in life after attending these sessions. I regularly attend JKO retreats, family camp, and I have benefited a lot from it. So when Nitinji offered me an opportunity to present in this forum, I was very excited, but I couldn't devote time to it. And today what I'm going to share is still a skeleton. I didn't get a chance to make a full-fledged presentation. Those are really my ideas I put into it. Usually I would be very embarrassed to share such incomplete presentation, but I know this is a very supportive group, so I feel comfortable sharing here. So it's going to be a bit unorganized. I haven't prepared anything. It's going to be more spontaneous. So ask me any questions as I go along, and if something doesn't make sense. So yeah, let me share my screen.
Yeah, it's very friendly group, Himani. So feel free to share. It's very comfortable group, as you would have realized it by now. So please.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very informal kind of talk. So please ask me questions if something is not making sense. So as you can see, right, this is a placeholder for an image that I saw in one of the Swamiji's lecture, actually, where there are electrodes and a mouse, and the mouse is getting a stimulation in the form of food, and the mouse is just running from one electrode to the other in the search of food. And in the same experiment, the experimentalists put a door, and they continued with the experiment. But the interesting observation that they found was that mouse did not exit through the door. The mouse was just running from electrode to electrode. And I found that experiment very fascinating, because I see there is such a parallel between that experiment and human lives. I mean, in case of a mouse, the difference between us and between like a human experiment and the mouse experiment is that the number of states are a lot more. In case of a mouse, it was just the taste or the food for which the mouse was running. But I feel like as a human, we are running from here to there to everywhere for different sensual pleasures. And I just feel like the number of states increase, but the situation is the same. And here the door is metaphorically refers to the spiritual elevation that one can gain and free themselves from the karmic binding or the binding from the sensual pleasures. So yeah, I wanted to share this because when I saw this when Swamiji was talking about it, I just feel like that we are no different from that mouse. Basically, we are doing the same thing. So that was very interesting for me. Yeah, so yeah, derived parallels between the mouse behavior and human behavior. I feel that's so much common. And while looking at the mouse, we might dismiss it or call it stupid, but essentially that's what we are doing in this world of Maya. The number of states, the space is sophisticated, but I feel the underlying behavior is the same, and we are continuously reacting to the worldly situation in search of dopamine, just like the mouse. So I would like to explain a bit about my early life. So like many Hindu families, my parents perform puja. I love going to the temple, and my parents offer prasad to Krishna in the temple, and so I always eat prasad at home. So I would say I belong to a very spiritual family. I was very used to going to the temple. I loved going to the temple. So I have imbibed these values from a very young age. And I was aware of Bhagavad Gita from a very young age, although never read it really, but I was aware of it. But at the same time, I want to mention that I'm very materialistic driven. I mean, I hear these sessions, I love what is being discussed, but honestly, I just love material world so much. I don't know, I can't help it. But there is a tendency in me that if something is not good for me, I try to make adjustment to my behavior. So when I started learning that, and even through experience, that material attachments lead to misery. I have experienced that happens, even though I still desire them. But I have experienced that material attachments lead to misery. I have understood it from experience. So when spirituality talks about that door, that invisible door that's available to us, that we don't use it, but we can use it. So I feel like I really should develop myself in that field, that maybe sometimes in the future, if there is a huge possibility that this material life may make me more miserable, so I have this door available. So since I know that I feel like the teachings of Bhagavad Gita has also given me a lot of practical tools that I can apply in my material life. So this is another big plus points of learning Bhagavad Gita, because it helps me in my material life, even though I'm very embarrassed to say this in this group, but but that's reality. So yeah, I have observed the negative effects of Maya, anxiety, what's going to be the result. I'm always attached. I used to be always attached to the result. Like whenever I used to pursue any endeavor, I would keep on thinking about the result, that gave rise to anxiety. And this has been a very repeating pattern in my life. But when I started attending these sessions, I realized that I got to know the principle of not attached to outcome, NATO. Even though right now it seems so simple, but it had a profound impact on my life. And I know a lot of people in this group are very advanced spiritually. So, this may feel like a very small principle, but for a person who has no spiritual background, I feel like this concept is really mind-blowing. When I started following it, in my material life, whenever I am anxious, I always contemplate, I always brainstorm that what is the root cause of this anxiety. There is definitely a desire. I can feel that there is a desire, and I'm attached to that desire. So I keep on reminding myself that I should not do it. And this is the practice I have been following since the last 1 year, that this is wrong. I shouldn't be attaching myself to the outcome. Instead, I should be pushing myself to my best effort, which is being affected because I am attached to outcome. My whole my mindset is towards that outcome. So by shifting that thought pattern bit by bit really helps a lot. And with time, I have figured out that I have made tremendous change to my ways of working in life. Yeah, and I also had a lot of unanswered questions about the origin of life, purpose of life, life after death, aging. I always wanted to look good, look youthful, and so yeah, all these materialistic tendencies, and but all these material things, all the good and bad things in life are impermanent, right? So yeah, that's what spirituality teaches us. So my first serious tryst with spirituality began when I attended Vipassana meditation in Dallas. In Kaufman, it's a town near Dallas. And that's where I learned the law of impermanence. Like, those 10 days were the most transformational days of my life, because I used to take a lot of stress about the future, what's going to happen in the future, where am I going to end up? But by really just observing my the flow of breath through my nostrils, and not reacting to any sensation. I mean, not craving for good sensations, and not having aversions for bad ones, and just feeling that these sensations are impermanent, and this too shall pass, is a very profound thing, which I realized during those 10 days of meditation. So had a huge impact on my life. Yeah, so yeah, I as I already said, I clearly know that Maya is bad for us. We should walk away, but I think I love it, and I still like to pursue it, and I'm embarrassed to share it. And but I feel like spirituality helps me manage the negative effects of Maya. And then I mentioned the NATO principle, which has been my biggest takeaway from these sessions, and hopefully there'll be more. There are already more, but this is what I think about, like at least 10 or 12 times in the day. So yeah, so yeah, this is my dual journey. I am progressing towards material accumulation while also assimilating spiritual aspects, in the hope that this is like it's more like a side hobby for me. Honestly, it's like I really want to progress. I am taking it very academically. I want to imbibe knowledge, I want to learn more, and just like a hobby, we try to grow the hobby. I try to take time for my spiritual progress whenever I can, so that ultimately the seed of spirituality that has been planted can continue to grow. It doesn't die, and hopefully it becomes bigger. And I feel like in that process, it's going to affect me, affect my material life. I feel it already has some kind of effect. And I can only wonder and imagine what the future is going to be like. But you know but my direction has been very materially driven. And I also feel like I always come to temple, especially come to temple when I am going through some hard time, or I have a desire. I'm always asking God for material things. So I don't know, maybe this spiritual progress will help me with that. But this is what I have been doing throughout my life, and I even do it all the times. But this group is like really it's amazing, and I love the energy in satsangs. When I attend satsang, when I attend Swamiji's lectures, it's a very different feeling, and I feel like there is so much negativity in this world, and I feel like this platform is like full of positivity, full of great people. So I love being in the vicinity of such an environment. And yeah, so, and this fourth point ties back to my first point, basically, even though I'm materially driven, but as I mentioned, I am growing spiritually as well. And as long as I am growing spiritually, I feel like it should, there should be some kind of switch that should happen in the future. I mean, I should trust the process, right? Where I'm actually pursuing God realization rather than material realization for my own benefit, minus the side effects. I don't know. That makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, I feel that incremental progress can move mountains, and that's why I am all about incremental progress. I always believe in that. Whenever I have to pursue anything, any field, consistency is my key. I make little progress, and that is my hope that by making whatever progress, little progress maybe I'm making, but very diligently and with pure heart, it should move the mountain of actually moving towards God realization. So yeah, that's my presentation. I know it's like a very haphazard and very unorganized set of thoughts. I wish I'd prepared more. Maybe I'll present again in the future once I recollect my thoughts, and maybe I'll present again in the future. But yeah, thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you, Himani. I think this is very candid, I would say, very candid presentation and straight out of your heart. What I found pretty interesting was you seem equally excited about, something special happening because now you're on this path, and at the same time scared that your priority, which is materialism or material world, might get snatched away from you. So that very paradoxical feeling that you're having is pretty interesting, and you communicated it really well. I'm sure a lot of participants would have caught it as well. So it's like, I'm excited, but at the same time, there's a fear of, oh, I enjoy Maya so much, what's going to happen to that part, right? And you remind me of one of my friends. He used to say that same, when I used to have some spiritual conversations with him. He said, but I enjoy Maya. These little things, I just enjoy it. Okay, I'll make you meet one of the days. Okay, he's here in Dallas only. So, but now his perspective has changed. So it's like almost like, something bad is going to happen if Maya is going to get snatched away from me. But yeah, great, glad. The good thing is you're very candid about what you feel, and and at the same time you seem pretty excited about what's happening, right? This phenomenon, once it starts growing on you, you don't have to do anything. Things will start happening all by themselves. And good thing is you are approaching it with an open mind, pretty candid about the fact that you come to temple to ask for material things from God. And God also says 4 kind of people approach him: Chaturvida Bhajante Man, right? Jigyasu, Artho, Arti, and Gyani. So that is also one of the things. Yen Kain Prakar, and Krishna says. So I'm pretty sure good things will happen, and we're not going anywhere. We'll continue to talk, and you'll soon get an opportunity to present again. But you could relate to that rat, which is going between the 2 electrodes, right? Where on one hand it has food, good food, and on the other hand it is gotten a bit of a beating, right? And his entire life goes around, okay, I need to avoid this, I need to get this, I need to get this, I need to avoid this, while the door has been opened. Wonderful. Let's give an opportunity to some of the participants who have raised hands to ask you questions, and then quick announcements, and then we have a hard stop at 10. But thank you again, Himani, for sharing your thoughts, candid thoughts with us. It was a pleasure listening to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.
No worries.
Yeah, Himaniji, loved your honest presentation. And I think the best thing was that you were an observer in your own life and you were analyzing things. So that is, I think, very nice. And I really appreciate that. And so just 2 comments in the chat, I'll quickly say. Rahul ji said, Man ki baat Himani ji ke saath. And Shri Ramya ji said, so much understanding and spiritual maturity. Very nice to hear from you, Himani ji. Wish you all the well.
Thank you.
So
yeah, please go ahead.
Ajit ji, should we start taking hands?
Yeah, sure.
Radhe Radhe, Ajit ji.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I see a very good thing that in such a young age, she got focused towards spirituality as well as materialistic. And only thing is, one point is missing is the soul consciousness and body consciousness. Once she will focus on that, all solution will come automatically. And I see whatever presentation she has made, that will be a dictionary for others as well. We see the Gita is a solution for all the problems. Spirituality provides you the solution, and materialistic provides you all the problems. So this is what I want to say. And we saw in the previous days that obsession by Mr. Raju. He has established so many villas in so many countries. So rat was having only 2 electrodes, but as a human being, the brain, that provides you so many alternatives that we forget about to go for the open door. So I'm happy that in such a young age, she got the open door as well.
Yep.
So she is confused to go this way or that way. But one more thing, that we see so many people used to go to Swamiji, even though Swamiji is unmarried, but they go that Swamiji, I should get married with a nice girl or spouse. I should get the good children, family, welfare. We go for the blessings to temples, to God. Definitely, blessings are helpful. And what I want to say, that instead of focusing for the results, the ultimate thing, we should focus for the positive result, positive aspect of the result, that I should achieve, I should accomplish this one. Instead of ignoring the end result, we should focus for the positive result, and definitely we will accomplish that.
Fair point,
Radhe,
Ajit.
Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I will just quickly share, I think with the mouse example I shared, I think my one leg is inside that setup, experimental setup, and one leg is outside the door, like, moving out. So, that's my situation, I think.
One of my friends in college, once he went to the doctor and he said, "Doctor, I have a problem." So he said, "What's the problem?" He said, "I used to enjoy smoking, but I don't enjoy it anymore." Doctor said, "It's not a problem, it's a good thing." So I won't be surprised if year down the line, Himani says, "I don't enjoy Maya anymore, but I want to enjoy it." Okay, that can happen. So don't be surprised if that starts happening. All right, let's quickly take a couple of other hands. I think Pallaviji, you wanted to make some announcements as well. Family camp, I can make a quick one. Please register for it. Yoga festival, please do register for it. Anyway, it's a free event. So if you're in and around Dallas, come over. Family camp, if you need assistance, although it's very nominal, please write out in feedback tracker and we can see what we can do for you to be able to attend it virtually at least. All right, we can quickly take hand. We have 2 minutes, so you'll have to rush it because we have mind management class coming up at 10. So let's quickly wrap up.
Yeah, Pallaviji, please.
Yes,
Radhe,
thank
Radhe.
you, Radhe Radhe. Himani ji, I'll be very quick. Your honesty and your energy really was very, very impressive. So congratulations on that. And you picked up the best nugget from Bhagavad Gita, and that was NATO. And you said you think about it 10 to 12 times a day. I mean, that is very impressive. So all the best to you. All good things are going to happen for sure.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
So,
Yeah.
The very best. Okay, 1 minute each. Manishi and Ashaji.
Yeah, Manishji, Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Great presentation, Himaniji. Great energy. You're on the right track. As Swamiji said, 95% or more, are just completely dedicated to worldly pleasures. So you're on this path. You've started on this. So eventually, the good things will happen, and God will, one day your heart will purify, and you'll start, you'll forget about you'll start losing interest in the worldly pleasures and more towards God. So keep up the good work and continue hard work. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
thank you.
Yeah, Ashaji, Radhe, Radhe. Ashaji.
Radhe Radhe. Himani ji, I must congratulate you for your most beautiful presentation. I appreciate your frankness and childlike innocence, and आपने बिल्कुल ही कोई फॉर्मेलिटी के बाहर के बिना एक बच्चे की तरह अपने आप को इस तरह अपनी फीलिंग्स को और सब कुछ जो भी हुआ है आपके मन में वो बिल्कुल ही आडंबर के बिना, बिल्कुल ही दंभ के बिना इतनी अच्छी तरह पेश किया कि मैं कहती हूँ कि जैसे कहा गया है कि जिसका दिल बच्चे जैसा निर्मल और ज्ञान के भार से मुक्त हो और बिल्कुल ही मैं क्या कहूँ इनोसेंस से भरा हो, वो उनको तो बहुत जल्दी ईश्वर के दरबार में प्रवेश मिल जाता है। और आपकी जो प्यास है जो अच्छेपन की तरह, और यू आर अवेयर, जैसे कि किसी ने कहा कि आप साक्षी भाव से अपने आप को ये अलर्टनेस के साथ जो कर रहे हैं, वो इट इज ग्रेट एंड वेरी रेयर थिंग। आई मस्ट कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट। बहुत ही अच्छा आपने किया है और ऐसे ही हम आपसे सुनते रहेंगे और माय बेस्ट विशेस आर ऑलवेज विथ यू।
Thank you so much. Means a lot.
धन्यवाद आशा जी, आपके मुखारविंद से इन शब्दों के माध्यम से हिमानी जी को अवश्य ही प्रोत्साहन मिला होगा। तो धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद आप सबका।
धन्यवाद। All right, over to you, Ajay and Sunil bhai, and I'll see you next week. Radhe Radhe. Have a wonderful day and a great rest of your weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.